Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversations. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Hello, hello, hello. I have a question for you. Have you ever felt completely lost? You know, seeking purposeful direction that could and should propel your mission within your divine journey to that next level, but still it hasn't happened. Well, my name is Lauren Michaels Harris, and I'm the founder of P3, the Journey Series. People come to me because they're wounded. Many are scared, and even there are those who are bruised simply because they feel that they are increasingly, for whatever reason, losing their ability to dream. Now, this P3 program is not for a person who's just looking to start a business, no, but rather for those of you out there who have been on your journey and you've been navigating within your divine purpose, but you still desire to elevate to that level that you have not reached yet. If this is appealing, if this describes you, then I want to have a chat with you. I want to hear your story. So use the link below to get registered for your free seat at P3, the Journey Series. And let's get started, one story at a time. I'll see you inside. Click the link.
Don't see what's yours for the taking tonight.
Oh, I'm feeling good today. You see, I have my Regal Royal. That's a clue. Royal robe on today. Plus, I've been binging on Viking shows for about a month. No, two. because I watched, man, all during my Christmas hiatus, that's all I did. So if I slip into a Viking brogue, Valhalla, what's that thing? Skull. Yeah. RoyalKye Aurelius Funk is here today. What's in a name? What indeed? What is in a name? I was like, first thing I want to say when he comes in, I was like, ooh, get it out of my face. Get it? Remember that one that was my jam in the 70s when I was just a wee tad of a tadpole. Get the funk out of my face. Get the funk. And ain't it funkin' now? That is the best name ever. So we're going to find out what that's all about. We got a great show for you. Welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. Dr. Lauren with you. Last night, night before, 24. That's my ADHD. It is not my fault. It just takes over, grabs the wheel at any given moment, but it makes for a pretty fun time. You guys, listen, another thing. Yay. Things are moving into place. Won't be long now. I can never remember the names of Pluto and Tubi. Here we come. 177 million additional homes, y'all. So listen, if you want to get your message out, you want to come back on the show, holler at your boy. I'm going to try to get you in. God is good all the time, and all the time, you better believe it. Listen, that's the bell of purpose. I ring it on purpose all through the broadcast to remind us that just like that bell, you guessed it, the truth, it has a ring to it. You better get your compass, your moral compass, tuned in so it is always headed due north so you can get to it and get through it and get this work done. It ain't about what we get paid for. It's about what we are made for. Can I get an amen? I'll kick it off. There's one. Get in there. Put in the comments. I want to know where you're from. Last night, you guys, I had, was it week two of my webinar series, getting people ready to get off that launch pad in a big way. We had over 50 people last night, and we had a great time for 90 minutes. If you want to come to the next one or the one after that or anything at all, listen, head over to any of my social media pages, and you'll find the link posted, pinned at the top of all my pages. Would love to see you next Wednesday, which I believe is the 22nd, and 7 p.m. Central till 8:30. How's that? Okay. There we go. Listen, welcome to the show, my sidekick. She's been here all 9. Well, this is the 9th year. Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo. She's my version of Ed McMahon. And I'm about to probably do one of her things right now, because here's today's metabolic balance breakfast, everybody. Been on this thing now about 16 days down. Tomorrow's weigh-in day. So last week was my first weigh-in after day 6. I was down 12.5 pounds. And today's breakfast is goat milk yogurt. I blended it in my magic bullet with some mango and some ice. And here we go. Delicious. Tastes just like candy. Remember that one, Lucy? It really is good and good for you. So, Mr. Miracle Man is here. RoyalKye Aurelius Funk spends his time split between the Hawaiian Islands. Oh, poor you. I don't know how you do it. Oh, man, who'd you piss off in the universe? And he's in Utah right now with his family. I am not even going to try to give you some kind of bio that I'm going to read or something like that. He can tell us when he gets in here, because I think I hear him tethering his pony as we speak. Here we come. If you don't get those spurs off my hardwood floor. What the? This gets better every time you drink a drink. How are you?
Morning. I'm fantastic. How you doing? What's up, Dr. Love?
I'm talking in my head. I'm like, you know what? Can you all see him? Can you see him you go to bars? You know, you're a faith-based guy.
I don't go to bars anymore. I used to.
Okay, but when you go to restaurant, you run into people. I can see like, hi, little lady. How you doing there? Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's
look, We got so much to cover. We got to talk
man.
about this Hawaiian necklace, the cowboy hat where Hawaii meets
Yeah.
West, and everything in between. But first, I'm going to do what I always do. I like to dip out for up to 60 seconds and let the guests kind of just really just speak from the heart. What's on your spirit today? And pour into everybody about, what's important now in this day. So we can come together and start this day to get the work done in this day. So I'm going to dip out. Whatever you pour out there is what we're going to kick off the interview with. So take it away, all you. I'll be back in 60.
All right. Aloha, everybody, and good morning. My name is RoyalKye Aurelius Funk, a.k.a. the Miracle Man. And we're going to start off the day with just gratitude. Gratitude is literally the key that unlocks the universe. If we're not grateful for what we have, why would God of the universe give us any more of it? And that's one of the things that the tenets in my book that I talk about is gratitude is the attitude. It's so important. And as we talk today, you're going to understand more about my story. And I hope that it'll inspire you that just because you've been through challenging situations or circumstances doesn't mean that that's where you have to stay. You can go to a new level, and it's amazing. And with God leading the way, anything is possible. Miracles are real. God is real. And your life has a divine purpose and a plan beyond anything that you could ever imagine. And so I want you to take a couple of deep breaths with me and really feel into your heart. How many, have you ever seen your heart and it's been beating for you every second of every minute of every day, your entire life, and you didn't even ask it to do it? Isn't that a miracle? That's a miracle. I haven't seen my heart, but supposedly it's there. We all got hearts, right? It's when we come into gratitude for what we have currently that we can expand into something beyond that we've never seen before. Life is challenging for everybody, but with faith and hope and grit and some determination, miracles will unfold.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. You can experience a miracle if you expect them.
Mm-hmm.
Miracles don't show up to people's doors that are always surprised about things, because when you're surprised, you don't know what to do with it because you didn't expect it. You know what? I'm never wearing this turtleneck again. It's making all my double chins pooch up. I just got this. There's a Christmas present.
You look fancy. It's good.
I'm very hypersensitive now that I'm in this.
Hypersensitive. Don't be judging yourself like that.
Well, you know what I mean. 62, and I'm like, plus, how old are you?
I'm young. 35 years young.
He had to dig. Let's put the knife deeper.
I'm just saying.
What's in a number? It's calling me young. Right? Telling me youthful, huh?
Age is a mentality. Some people they're like, I'm getting so old. It's like, no. If you're thinking you're old, you're going to be old.
That's right.
Execute without bias.
Lord,
they listen to what we're saying 24/7, 365. So we got to speak to ourselves loving and kind and empowering, because if you're like, my body's hurting, it's going to be hurting.
You manifest it.
Yeah.
See, I can play like that. I go like this usually when I use those words. So those things that don't serve us, don't get it twisted. I'm using the word. You're not using me with the word. But because I say it every day. Said it last night on the webinar, shameless plug. I'm trying to be the black ass. Oops, sorry. See, you make me not want to cuss. You're a good influence. I'm trying to be the black male Betty White. And so that means I finally am vested in living. Now, speaking of living, this moniker, the Miracle Man, you didn't just like put a bunch of things in a hat and say, oh, what am I going to call myself? Mr. Awesome? No. Mr. Wonderful? No. Ooh, Miracle Man. That's the one. No. How did you come about? Because that's a pretty big statement, especially to people who don't have any belief system in place. They have no reference point to what you're talking about. Tell us about that, Miracle Man.
Well, let's see. In 2017, I had a near-death experience. So I literally died. My soul left my body. I went to heaven and I met God. And
Quit.
I'm serious. That's why
stop.
I'm serious. That's why I didn't give myself that name. That was God's given name to me. And let me give you a little backstory, right? So right out of high school, I started firefighting for the feds, like the Forest Service, Department of Interior, engines, helicopter attack crews, command teams.
Are you prior military too?
No, I was going to go into the military and I wanted to be an Air Force pilot. and they didn't
Air
let me in
Force.
because
I
of
love
my
you all over
eyes.
again. Air Force veteran.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
they didn't let me in because of my eyes. I don't want to talk about that.
I
got
already know.
99th percentile in the ASVABs, and they get to my eyes, and then like, not sorry, bro. I was like, forget you all. I'm gonna go.
You
fight.
had a different calling
I did.
on your life. Go on. So
Yeah,
you were doing firefighting.
Yeah, so for firefighting, and because of that, when we go, like, let's just the whole blanket: fire, police, military, EMS. When we're going into fight or flight situations consistently, I mean, we're on call or we're on duty or we're deployed, going from a fight or flight consistently, it changes our physiology and our biology. Okay. And so that's where PTSD and stuff comes from. So our neurochemistry, our baseline of where we're at is altered and changed. And I had PTSD and I didn't recognize it. I didn't realize it. I come from Wyoming, right? I grew up in Wyoming. I'm a Wild West cowboy, right? And in that culture, you have to be rough and tough. And especially if you're a firefighter, you can't talk about your feelings or emotions, especially as a man. Don't do it. You can't.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's not okay. AKA you a little beep.
I thought that was just on Yellowstone. It's real?
That's real. Yeah, that's
Aw,
real.
poor
In
man.
our society, in the Western society,
Yes.
buck up, cowboy. You want something to cry about? I'll give you something to cry about. We don't have a place to process our feelings or emotions. I was really broken as a man. I left the fire world after a decade. I got into sales and business. And at the time, I was in corporate finance. My thinking at the time was money can say, like, it's a whole trajectory. My life's had a lot of experience. Anyways, my thinking was money equates to happiness and joy. All I need is money. All I need is money. That's all I need. It'll fix everything, but it's not going to build character. It's not going to make you a better man. It's not going to fix a broken heart. And it sure as hell ain't going to get you closer to God. And so,
speaking of, okay, because I know, right, y'all. I'm like, get back to the tour, right? So okay, first of all, because we all, well, not all, but those of us who are believers, you know, you go through in your mind sometimes. I wonder what's going to be like. Boom, 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 and I'm very excited about it. I mean, it's not like I want to have lunch with Whitney Houston quite yet, but when the day comes, it'll be nice, you know. But take us through. How did you first end up in the situation where it was a near-death experience? Mine, you were on did it have to do with a firefight?
Well, so what happened was I wasn't even in firefighting.
Oh.
I had PTSD. I was in negative coping mechanisms. I was married at the time. I was angry at the world. I was mad and I didn't feel safe in my body because of hopping out of helicopters into forest fires and just going and going and going and going. It changes it. So I was drinking a lot to numb all the pain and the childhood trauma that I experienced. So I left my house one night on a motorcycle in 2017, actually here in Utah, got into an argument with my wife, was all liquored up, left on a motorcycle to go get a pizza. Yeah.
What are you going to tell us next? Please say you weren't in a tank top and shorts, wearing flip-flops.
Yeah.
Why is that always the case? I was talking to a girl a couple weeks ago. Same thing happened. Guess what she was wearing on the back of one? A bikini. If I get on one, I better have at least a beekeeper suit on.
Right? I just left. I mean, flip-flop, shorts, tank top, cruising around. Right? I go.
You really had. Wait, stop. Mm-hmm. You really were dressed in what I said.
Yeah, 100%. You were right on. Yeah.
I nailed it.
Yeah, you did. No, 100%. Yeah. So I go. I don't just wait. Let me go over to the story.
I'm just shocked.
Yeah. This is great. So I get the pizza. I'm cruising. I've ridden motorcycles my entire life. Like, I mean, I'm very, very well adept at motorcycles. But when I was drinking, different, right?
You went and got a pizza on the motorcycle.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I had
carry the pizza.
I had a back rack. Yeah, I had a back rack and a bungee, all that stuff, right? So it's safe, it's secure. I'm not like holding it. Like
okay, just trying to take it.
I'm silly, but I ain't stupid.
Well, you were drunk. So anything could have happened. You could have had it up here trying to balance it. Right? Okay, so
I'm cruising, and this is what happens. This is where it gets really intense. And so I look behind me to make sure the pizza is good, right? It's pepperoni. I'm like, hey, you good, bro? And I turn around, and there was a roundabout that had no reflectors, no lights, nothing, just this dark, ominous warning about to break my illusion of control. I was going 30 miles an hour without a helmet, and I hit it head first. Blam! And I literally, thank God, my face broke my fall. Seriously, no joke. It's crazy. It busted my jaw in half. My jaw ripped from my skull on the left side. My entire right side of my face and part of my skull was completely shattered and caved in.
Okay.
Hold on, I got to tell you what this
got my bottom lip quivering.
I know, but I had massive internal bleeding, my brain, my kidney, my spleen, 3 shattered ribs, shattered scapula, broken arm, 2 fractures, and 3 torn ligaments in my left leg. I was on my
hangnail.
And a hangnail, just a little hangnail, just a little guy.
That's all I could have handled. Okay. Now,
So,
were you knocked unconscious?
I was going in and out of consciousness. I was bleeding out fast. It looked like a murder scene. A blunt force trauma on a motorcycle without a helmet head first. I mean, I should be a vegetable or dead 100,000%. And so I was hemorrhaging from my right eye socket, and my face was tilted in such a way where the blood was going into my mouth, and I was about to asphyxiate on my own blood and die.
Okay.
That's the truth. So as I'm laying there, and I knew I was about to die. I knew it.
Did?
I knew it. I knew it. And I was laying there, and I'm like,
okay, wait. We were talking about that just the other day when you said, and we were like, I think you know that, because
your soul knows.
Was it a calmness? Were you afraid?
No, I just knew it. And I prayed with all my heart and all my might. I said, God, I've heard about you my entire life. Please save me. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Please save me. And at that moment, my soul blasts out of my body. Poof, and it launches out, and I go into this beautiful, perfect white bliss. And it was heaven. And your soul knows. Your soul knows 100,000%. And when I was in that place, it was beyond anything I've ever experienced in my life. Really? I want all the viewers to imagine your happiest moment, your most joyful moment, your most peaceful, most stoked, epic moment, and times it by 1,000,000. And maybe you get kind of close to where it comes from.
Hold on. I need a moment. Because, see, I operate on imagery, and when I say they, I refer to everything greater than me. I'm talking about the angels. I'm talking about Jesus. I'm talking about God. I'm talking about Holy Spirit, and the things that we don't know about, because there's so many. You know what I mean? They got so many different occupants. You know what I'm saying? That I just say everything greater than me. And I'm gonna tell you something. I was feeling kind of verklempt just when you described it. From that, and I know you must feel inadequate every time you try to do that, because you know it doesn't even come close to what the real experience was, but you got to do your best.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get there. What do you? Okay, wait. Did you was it a landing strip? Did you land on top of a roof? Did they have houses? What did you see?
No, the only thing that I saw was it was this perfect white bliss. I didn't see anything except for white. I believe I was in like a waiting room or something, right? Like I didn't see anybody. I felt
no loved one saying, "Hey, welcome."
No, but there was this omnipresent, all-pervading feeling that my soul, my consciousness, and my spirit was wrapped in, and it was the love of God that was more profound than anything I could ever experience in my life. And we're loved beyond anything we could ever imagine. It doesn't matter what we've experienced, what we've gone through. And when I was there, I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to stay here. And God's like, you can't stay here. Like, you got to go back. And I was like,
so,
no.
Wait, are you hearing a voice, or you just know?
It was a voice. It was a voice. Yeah, I didn't see anybody, but it was a voice. And I knew it.
What? You cannot stay.
This is the thing. Like, God knows us so intimately that he talks to us like our best friend. He's not like, oh, here art thou in the heavens, thine servants. No, it's nothing like that.
Right. Yo.
No, he's like, you got to go back, bro. I was like, hell no. Like, no way. I'm like, there's no way I'm going back. There's a bunch of crazy bastards out there. Like, and I'm one of them. I ain't going back. Life is hard. It's difficult and challenging. I'm not going back. And God's like, you have to go back. I'm like, bro, no way. I'm not going to
argue with God.
What's that?
You do it every day.
I argue with God. Yeah,
he's like, come on, bro.
He knows. Like, he knows. Like, we're fallible. Like, that we're human. But like, so I'm there. I'm arguing with God. He's like, you got to go back. I was like, And on the third time, when he's like, no, really, you have to go back.
Don't make me tell you
You
again.
you have a mission to complete. And at that time, the third time, I see my body in this bloody, mangled mess of destruction. My jaw's broken. There's blood everywhere. It looks like a murder scene. Like I see it from like a bird's eye view, right? And so I see it, and I'm like, okay, that's me. If I have to go back, and I summon up my negotiation skills, because I'm like, if I have to go back, if I have to go back, you have to make sure that I'm not paraplegic, that I don't have a traumatic brain injury, that I'm not a vegetable. And if you save me and you teach me how to live as a man, because I'm so broken, I will do whatever you want me to do. You tell me to jump, I say how high. You say run, I say how fast. But you have to teach me how to live and as a man, and I'll be your man. But you have to save me. He's like, all right, bet, bro. And like people like God didn't save that. I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure like when he was talking to me, he did. I'm like, okay, I made a deal on my life. My soul goes back into my body. And at that moment, a trauma doctor that lived right across the street, literally less than 30 yards away, ran up to me. The only person in the world that could have saved me. And he sees me. He's like, oh man, this dude's dead. I'm just sitting there. Right. And he's like, I gotta open up his airway, but he didn't want to turn me over for this fear of a spinal column injury. So he cradles my spinal column and he turns me over. He opens up my airway.
What? Here. I happen to have a big pen on me.
Right. Like, I don't know. Like he just cradled my spinal column, turned me over. So the blood all rushed out of my mouth so I could kind of start breathing. Right. And he takes off his shirt. He's trying to stop the bleeding. But there's blood everywhere, right? He manages to call 911. An ambulance gets dispatched 2 blocks away that's parallel to where we were, that was driving by late at night. Come on, right? Come on.
God.
I mean,
indeed.
Right? So they show up right away. He's telling them, let's go. This guy's going to die. We got to get him to the hospital now. So they start working on me and they're loading me up. And this is the crazy part, even crazier, right? Of course, heaven is real, all that stuff. But my dad shows up in all of Salt Lake City Valley, GPS pinpoint location, kitty corner to where I was. The EMT runs up to him and says, sir, you don't want to see this. This is nasty. This guy's probably going to die. And my dad looks at the EMT and he says, that's my son. And the EMT is like, what the hell? How would you know that? And he says, God told me that he was going to be in a motorcycle accident. And he told me to come and pray for him. And that he's going to live.
Stop. I can't. Now I get it. I'm not kicking, I'll be honest. I used to look and I'd go, what is it about this guy? You know, I'm looking at the name first, then I watch all your stuff, because, you know, I'm always looking for new show hosts, right? Yeah. And then, and I see the thing, and I wanted to go deep, so I said, no, wait until he's on your show. And I was like, but he's not booked. Oh, okay, I get what you just did. Oh, pretty good, clever. I like the way you brought that in, right? And then I reached out to you, and I was told to wait, because you got to hear this in its entirety from him.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. How soon after you were in the hospital and kind of coming back in, I mean, you know, did you start going, did that really happen? Did you ever question it and go, well, did I make that up?
This is the thing. So when they rushed me to the hospital, the doctor's like, oh man, this dude's dead, right? Like he's not, no way he's going to live through this. And the bleeding in my brain, God stopped the bleeding in my brain completely. They didn't do any brain surgery. It just, boom, cut off, done. Then they stented my kidney and my spleen, and they spent 11 hours reconstructing my face. I woke up in the hospital a day later. I'm messed up. And the doctor comes in. I come to, and I'm just like what happened, right? And he's like, you were in a near fatal motorcycle accident and you're the luckiest man alive. I've never seen anything like it. You should be dead. You should be a vegetable. Like how you're walking and how you're able to move is just beyond me. Like you got some angels watching after you. And I'm like, I know, I don't got some angels. I got a whole legion of angels because I've been wilding out for a minute, right?
Right.
And so I at that point, I had to make a very decisive decision. I could continue down the path of destruction and pain and anger for what had happened to me as a child with a bunch of abuse and the world and religion and all these things, right?
Yes.
Or I could accept responsibility and accountability for exactly where I was, not blame anybody. I was the one that chose to drink. I was the one that chose to leave. I was the one that was harboring hate and anger and in my heart. And I said, okay, this is my problem. Like, it's my problem. I did it. So I accepted accountability and responsibility. And I said, okay, God, I'm going to heal fast. And I am going to teach other people how to heal. And this is going to be a part of my ministry. This is the crazy part, right? After everything that happened, I was only in the hospital 2 weeks and I was working out 3 months later.
I'm not surprised. Because, I just, dude. I mean,
it's wild.
It is. So
here's the kicker.
Go ahead.
I didn't remember that
where my mouth gets stopped.
I didn't remember speaking to God until I got to Hawaii and I began writing the book.
You didn't wait.
Because I just, it was wild. And I didn't remember it until I was writing it, because I went back into it because I had to process a lot of trauma from it before I could actually remember the memory, because trauma makes you forget things, because it
protects you. Yes.
It cuts down all the things. Right. And so it wasn't until I got to Hawaii and God called me to Hawaii and it saved me. Thank God for Hawaii and just being brought to the island, and because it changed me. And I began to understood why, I was hurt and I was angry and all these things, because some pretty wild, crazy things happened to me when I was younger that I didn't even remember either, because I compartmentalized them, and we can't heal what we don't know what hurt us.
Amen to that. So you heal, you rehab, you re-enter.
I heal, I rehab.
Now the people you used to, come on, dude, let's go to the bar, or let's go this, or let's go that. This different person is now walking amongst them.
It is 100%. And at the same time, this is the wild thing, because of that incident, it caused even more chaos in my life. So because I had alcohol in my system, check this out. This is the kicker. This is why it's like the miracle man. Number one, I survived a near fatal motorcycle accident, and I should be a vegetable, or did. Met God, brought back to life. But this is one of the kickers. Because I had alcohol in my system, the insurance company denied everything. So I was left with a $500,000 medical bill. And they said, here you go, bud. Congratulations. So everything that I built up in my life was gone like that. My job, my being in corporate finance and making good money. And then my marriage, boom, everything just disappeared. And I was so broken and so in this deep, dark pit of hell. And I said, God, you have to help me. I've always thought that I could do everything myself, but you have to help me. So this is what I want people to know. It doesn't matter where you're at. It doesn't matter what you've experienced or what you've gone through. God will find you in that darkness. If you reach out and you open up your heart and your mind, you say, please help me, even if you messed up, and he'll start rebuilding you into a new person, unlike you have never been before. And I completely moved through all of that. And now this is what I'm doing, is sharing my story.
Come as you are is not a clever twist of phrase. It is a command. It is an opportunity. Is it a red carpet? It's all those things in a bag of chips, y'all. It really, really is. Now, let's talk about how you converse now, because it sounds like you and I have the same. I mean, I talk to God like I would talk to my best. I mean, sometimes, because he has a great sense of humor, and sometimes he'll be doing stuff. And I'll be like, ooh, you something else with your shit. I was like, I'm not kidding. I'm like, for real? Because he wants us to have an experience. He wants us to be baptized in his experiences every single moment of every single day.
Yep.
So let me ask you, how old are you?
I'm 35 years young.
30. And how old were you when this took place?
I was 28.
28. So really not that long ago.
Yeah, and it took a while to recover from that and rebuild. And the island, like the whole story from the island and getting there is crazy too. But thank
We're
God.
gonna hear that. Now I wanna know this, especially like people that knew you through interview, family, this, and the other. How long did it take before they all came out of their shock? The Cindy Brady look. Remember when she tried to go on TV?
Yeah.
Right, the red light came on and she froze. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, because the transformation must have been so surprising, for lack of another word. How did you explain it to people? And what response they're like, especially after you remembered about the heaven part? Were they like, say what? What do you get from people? Are they like, tell me more?
A lot of people that I meet are very, very intrigued. They're like, oh my gosh, like tell me more. And because I'm just speaking truth and real from my heart and my soul. Like I did not want to come back. I did not. I don't. Like in some days when life is difficult and challenging, I'm like, God, I'm like, come on, dude. Like I don't even want to be here. Like I'm so disillusioned by the world and by like everything. I'm like, I'd rather be there, but I'm here on a mission. And so some of my family, you know, they're like, yeah, of course. That's just RK. That's just what he does. Right. But other people that I meet, like, this is the thing. When we're moving forward and we're going on a new path and a new trajectory that we haven't been before, when we're in our current ecosystem and as we're breaking away from the tribe, there will be those that have like small minds. And we're creating a polarity within the ecosystem. And so they're going to be like, well, that's not true, or you can't do that because you're moving forward with faith and hope. And they're still staying currently where they are. And so it sheds a light on their lack of. And it's not bad. There's just a contrast. And so no matter what, you have to keep on moving forward because God has a point, God, a purpose for your life, a divine blueprint that's so intrinsically designed. Divine blueprint, baby.
Yes.
That's what it is. And once we tap into it, that's when the miracles start unfolding. That because there's good, better, and best, right? It's like, do you want to have good? Because a lot of people, they're doing good. They're like, I got a job, maybe I have a partner, I have a family, I have housing, but like there's better and there's best. And if you ask God, like, what do you want me to do? I have talents and abilities that nobody else has, that your unique perspective, there has never, ever been another you in the history of humanity. And there never will be. That's your superpower. I want people to understand that. It's like, there is no other you. Act like it.
No one. And thank you for saying that. I was saying that last night on the webinar. Shameless plug. I did, but it's the truth because so many people are afraid of their own uniqueness. You know, I remember back when I first got started, Les Brown literally pulled me backstage and said to me, Lauren, don't ever change. There are going to be a lot of people, and it had just happened. Greg Reed told me, you need to, follow this person. Look, try to do more like him. This, that, and Les said, no, Lauren. If you are ever even remotely close to another person in the same space, it only means that one of you is unnecessary. See what I'm saying? What? Right. Powerful? Right. Exactly. So let me ask you this, because I've interviewed this is the 9th year of this show, and I've had probably, 4 or 5 people that have been on here that have experienced near-death experiences. I'm always intrigued. I had Alan A. Allen. He's in his 80s. He had 20-some near-death experiences. He wrote a book on it. Yes, 20-some. He is in the Smithsonian. He was one of the first aquanauts. Lived underwater in a container, right? And they have him, a person that look a wax figure, all of it, right? And he's like a guru. I could sit at his feet and just listen. Here is the thing. You had seen or heard or experienced stories of people saying, oh yeah, I had a near-death experience long before your own. Now, how different was it when you had your own? Did you start looking like, let me go and listen to some near-death experiences? And did anything feel familiar, almost deja vu-ish?
I'm going to be honest with you. I hear that a lot. People are like, oh my gosh, I'm so intrigued with near-death experiences and what's beyond here and what's after our experience and stuff. I like people like, you should check out this show or go to here. I haven't checked any of it out. I know mine, and I'm here about my story. I'm sure that's their story, and it's great. Like, but and everybody that I talk to that's intrigued by it, there's similar parallels in these contrasts that are interwoven into these motifs or archetypes of like what the experience is. The white light, some people see in family, that young kid, what was his name when he walked with Jesus, and so
that answer, I'm gonna just say it, that answer is exactly what I would have expected because here's why. Going and comparing it to other people's is really trying to validate it or, get it co-signed, where when we are seeking the truth, we really only need to hear or experience it once, since the truth is the only thing in the universe that never changes and is always the thing that never changes on us. So when you had your example, the ring of truth is in it, and that's all you need. So now take us to as far as you're comfortable. Okay. Well, okay. How about, because I'm always intrigued by this, because my journey, and I love telling kids, whenever trauma entered your world, know this, it was the literal moment that God marked you for greatness. That's what I believe it is. Just like this thing with you, those traumatic experiences are when God has said you have been marked for greatness. What about the other 8? Boom, boom. Gentle elbow nudge just to remind you, don't forget, don't get it twisted. You were made for greatness. Now get to it. So take us back to when you were a child. Okay. How much of that? I don't know how much you're comfortable with.
No, I'm an open book. And this is the stuff that I wrestled with as I was writing the book. I did not write the book. It was channeled through me.
What's the name of the book?
It's called The Miracle Man.
Okay.
The Miracle Man, the book. So I didn't write the book. Like God channeled it through me. And so I surrendered my life once I got to Hawaii, and I said, I don't know what you want me to do. I've done all these things. I've been a firefighter. I lived in Mexico. I was in corporate finance. I was making money, like all these things. None of these brought me true happiness or joy. Tell me what you want me to do. And I started writing the book and learning and healing. So going back to my childhood, when I was young, I was diagnosed with ADD, OCD, and Tourette's syndrome. And I still have Tourette's, but I've completely upregulated it, So when I was younger, I was always twitching and ticking. I mean, I was just, I was picked on a lot, all the time. Kids are brutal, relentless.
Can I just say something real quick? My best friend, Ronnie, he was a twin, Ronnie and Connie, right? And he would stay over all the time. And I became his best friend because he had that. And it was contagious. I'd be talking to him, and before you know it, I'm doing it, and I can't stop. My mom's like, quit doing that. It's going to stick. You're making fun of him. But we became really close friends. And you're right. He used to confide in me how horrible kids could be. So how did you, first of all, tell us later how you overcame it. Keep going.
Well, so I was born in Utah, was here for, 5-6 years when I was younger, then moved to Wyoming. So I'm grateful I went to Wyoming. My parents moved us to Wyoming, new school, all these things, was picked on relentlessly. I was, the new kid, very awkward, I've been a very spiritual connected person since I was younger. Right. I just didn't understand why people act the way they do and treat people the way they do. Very high EQ at a young age.
Would you say you were an empath?
100,000%. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I was able to see beyond the veil. Like I would talk to angels and spirits, orbs and energy at a young age.
Yes.
And I would be chanting or oming or like going into trance states. And I distinctively remember one time my brother ran into my room and I was just talking to God. And I was, meditating and chanting, and he runs out, Mom, God's talking to the devil again. And so here, this hyper religious construct, as a young child, I thought I was demonic. I was, something's wrong with me. Something's bad, because it was such a heavy religious organized, lens. And so that caused it. Like my upbringing, if you gave me $1 billion, I would never go back to it, because it was very challenging. It was very difficult, right? I was suicidal at 8 years old. I would have rather cut myself up and watch myself bleed out and die than live in the perpetual hell that I was in, right? That's crazy as an 8-year-old. And a lot of people,
how can it be so heavy?
Well, number one, school, when you're going to school, and I was relentlessly bullied off and I'm like nonstop, right? Come to home. My home environment wasn't stable. My mom and dad, they fought like cats and dogs because they were acting out of their own trauma. Right. So they didn't have the correct coping mechanisms and the skills and tools, especially when you had 3 kids. Right. So this is one of the things that happened. And I didn't recognize this till later. When I was in like 5th or 6th grade, I didn't recognize that this happened until I got to Hawaii to be able to heal it, to feel it. So after, baseball, after, like, one of my coaches took me home and he raped me at gunpoint, and I completely locked it out of my mind. He said, if you tell anybody, I'll blow your effing brains out. And so I completely compartmentalized it. And from that point, I had never felt safe in my body. I never felt safe in my body. I never felt safe around people. And I compartmentalized it. It wasn't until just a couple of years ago, like 3 years ago, when I did EMDR, that I literally felt my body for the first time, that I'd been dissociated because my spirit had to leave my body for self-preservation. I remember feeling my facial hair and I was like, oh my God. Oh my gosh. Like, it was the first time I came home into my body. And so that's what I teach in the book, is like these principles of resilience and empowerment and how to move through trauma, because this is what happens. Trauma gets locked in our body and the limbic system, and the current an imprint of it. Yes. And the current mode is like, hey, go and do CBT or DBT, go and do talk therapy. But until it's discharged from the limbic system, until it's removed from the mental and emotional processing center, you're going to feel the same exact way. The nervous system, the brain, doesn't know from an internal event or an external event or an event that happened yesterday or 20 years ago. And you have to feel it to heal it. And you can't distract yourself. Like, in us as men, you know, we're programmed to not feel, distract yourself, go and work. Like, the society is drink, drug, sex, like, go and work. Like, and it's not ever going to bring you happiness or fulfillment until you're connected with God and your mission and your purpose.
That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. You know, I was, I say to people all the time, from where I stand in this journey at the age of 62, when I was a kid, and I remember that very first night in foster care, that the monster came out of that hole in the wall that was covered by a mattress. And I was expecting him because the other boys in the room had told me it was going to happen. But all I saw were his 4 fingers move in that mattress. And I promise that 2 angels that were charged to me at that time, they're in this room with me right now, took me and just, I don't know what to call it other than they wrapped something around me like a cocoon. And I literally felt, and I was like, what is this place? And they said, this is faith. It is not a thing. It is a place. All of the things that God has for you that you cannot touch, you can only feel. They're not things. They're places. He wants you to know, Lauren, that they are with you whenever you need them. Just call them forward and you will receive. And I am telling you, when you said what you said, it just rang through me. True, 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 and true. So let me ask you this. Does it ever get heavy? Do you ever feel like, oh, I need a break. This is too much. I'm holding so much space. Or have you found your own way to understand what do you think it means when we're told to count it all joy? Now that you've had that experience, what does that mean to people that you want? I know you probably tell people, don't let a near-death experience get you there. I went there so you don't have to.
Yeah. Don't be competitive. Don't be stubborn. So this is the thing, is like, God in the universe will send you signs and nudges, right? So like, I was watching a keynote speaker in Omaha, Nebraska, and she was from Australia. And she had this cool analogy. And she's like, you know, the universe may be like, well, come and give you a little, you know, a tickle with a feather, right? It's like, here you go, like, get your attention, right? Then it'll be a brick. Then it'll be like a small pebble, then a brick, then it's like a car, right? So like, God's trying to get our attention. And I just didn't even want anything to do with God, because I grew up like hyper religious, right? Very charismatic Christian. Like, if you don't follow it to a T, you are not worthy. You're not going to heaven. You're going to hell. God doesn't love you. And I was like, I don't want anything to do with that.
Right.
Like, not at all. Like, screw God.
Same thing.
Forget you, bro.
Same thing.
And so, you're going to
fire and brimstone. Yeah. Right.
Hellfire and brimstone. Right. And so I went from this hyper religious construct, and the pendulum swung to the complete opposite of hyper spiritual. So it's like, I'm the creator of the universe. I am the one that manifests all, right? And so then God humbled me, and he's like, bro, like, don't get it twisted. And so what I tell people is like, if you truly want to learn more and want to know and be connected with God, God isn't up in the clouds. He's inside. The kingdom of heaven resides within us, but we have to really open ourselves. Like a closed fist, like a closed mind will not receive. So one of the mantras that I work with my clients with is, give me the eyes to see, the ears to hear, and the heart to feel the truth. Because we have to be open. We live in a free will universe. If somebody doesn't open the door or knock a little bit, it's not going to happen. If you don't believe in miracles, they're not going to happen. If you don't believe in transformation, it's not going to happen. But if you ask the Holy Spirit to give you the truth and Jesus into your heart and God, like, stuff will start happening. You don't have to go through a near-death experience, because it's far more miraculous and supernatural than we can ever imagine. But if you're stuck in this really 3D materialistic matrix mesh, like, you're not going to see it. And that's what society wants us to do. This is the program. Get people disconnected, disappointed, depressed, discouraged, accumulate more things because you're doing something and you're really living life, but really it's just this materialism.
That's right.
Get the next shiny thing. Get this car and you're going to be enough. Get this house and you're going to feel great. You can make $100,000 or $200,000 or $1 million, you're going to be perfect. But numbers are endless. And if you're basing your worth off of numbers, you're never, ever going to be enough, and you're always going to be on the chase.
Absolutely right. Now, I want to ask something before. Well, man, this hour, we got to have you back. Seriously, I'm serious.
We haven't even touched the Viking stuff, because you were talking about that. I got a lot of great. I come from Viking ancestry, so Danish and Swedish, German.
You do?
Yeah.
Arr! Oh, okay.
Oh, it's a pirate. Come on, Lord.
We're right now. We're on the series Valhalla, right? Yeah. I just want to touch on this really quick. Have you ever stopped, or do you think you will ever stop looking up and just asking? Because I do it all the time. It used to be out of a place of regret. Why me? And sometimes now, it's not that. It's not, what did I do to deserve this? Now the song I play is, what must I do to preserve this? I would live everything I lived over 1,000,000 times for 5 minutes of what I live today. I'm just telling you, there's nothing greater than knowing why you're here. So what do you hear when you ask, like, it's so wonderful. Why me? Why did you choose me? Because if people would only accept the invitation, they'd get the same answer you get. Tell them about that answer you get when you ask why.
So I ran away because of my calling. I knew that I had a calling on my life. I knew that God had selected me. Many are called, but few are chosen, because it's not an easy path. Because it is difficult and challenging, and it's the fires that forge us to get rid of the dross. And I was like, why me? Like, no, that like, you want me to do what? Like, no way, bro. Like, I'm not doing that. That's way too magnificent. And I ran and I ran and I ran until I had my near-death experience. And then I got to Hawaii, and God's like, you're going to sit, you're going to learn how to heal, you're going to learn how to communicate with me, because I have a mission for you. I'm like, okay. And so now it's not like, why me? Now it's like, this is amazing.
Why not?
I would be chosen. Because if not me, then who? And if not now, then when? Look at our world. People are suffering. People are hurting. And I wrote a letter to God after all the experiences, and I was pissed. And God can take a lot. I was like, screw you. I don't want anything to do with you.
I did that too.
Done with you. Forget you. I hate you.
Talk to the hand, Felicia.
Right? Bye, Felicia. I'm done.
That's exactly what I said.
Peace out, Girl Scout. And so,
but you know what? Let people know this, because I know you understand. God was like, fine. Because he said, come as you are. I don't care if you come angry. I'm not sensitive. Yeah. I just want you to get here. It's a start.
Yeah.
It is a start.
If you're praying and you're cussing at me the whole time, that's okay. I'm a big God. I'm not going to get butthurt.
Right. Because even when you're angry, you're not going to yell at something you don't believe in.
Yep.
I'll wait on you till you ask yourself, well, wait a minute. Why was I bitching at something I don't believe in? Right. Now, as we get out of here, tell them about what they'll find when they head over, because I know they want to. MiracleManJourney.com.
Yeah, so you'll see the story, a little bit of like when I was a day and a half later of when my face was mangled, and then I haven't even told you that I have to tell you this real quick. So I had never met the man who saved my life. 4 years later, after the accident, after working out before fire season, God says, hey, go back to where the accident was. I go back to where the accident was. And I'm like, what am I doing? He says, start knocking on doors. You're going to find the man that saved your life.
Get out.
And I was like, oh my gosh. So knocking on doors, can't find anybody. I turn across the street, and then I got chills, spirit chills. And I was like, that's the house. So I went up there, knocked on the door. This young cat, maybe 16 years old, opens the door and is like, can I help you? And I said, have you lived here for a while? And he's like, yeah. I said, do you remember a motorcycle accident? He says, yeah. I said, I'm that man. He says, oh my God, I need to go get my dad. So he grabs his dad. His dad comes out. He's in an apron.
In those chills.
It's dinner time. His hair slicked back. He's like, yeah, can I help you? Really short. And I was like, this is the dude that saved my butt. And I said, do you remember a motorcycle accident a couple of years ago? And he says, yeah. And I said, I'm that man. And I was in all white pants, a white tunic, my mala beads, which will have to be on the show for round 2.
You got to come back.
Yeah.
Stay backstage for a minute and we'll book it. And
Yeah.
I'll let you guys know immediately
So,
tomorrow when. Okay.
He told me, and I said, I'm that man. And he said, no way, you died. Like, there's no way you died. That you're not that man. I'm like, you're right, I did die. And God brought me back to life. And he told me to come and say thank you. And we embraced in the most sacred hug, because until you've met the person that saved your life, you can never, ever repay him.
Oh my God.
And it was beyond. And we're sitting there crying and sobbing as he saved my life. And I said, thank you for saving my life. And that re-sparked his connection with God. And he says, there's no way that you lived. You're not that man. And I said, I am that man. And his son said, I remember my dad coming in and he was covered in your blood from head to toes of your blood. It looked like a murder scene. And I was like, yeah, that was my blood. Like, and he saved me. And so it's the same thing with Jesus. That was his blood. Like, people like, it's just beyond, like, the parallels are just crazy. So I'm grateful to be here. Thanks for having me on. I know we're running out of time. An hour. Like, what? We've been hanging out
so fast. And listen, they're asking. We're going to have to set this up. Please come back. Great testimony. Thank you, Jan. And thanks to all of you out there. What a day. Listen, what an honor. Now I see why I said, don't even go looking for just sit there and receive. And I'm so glad that I did, because it would have been a disservice completely. I want to say thank you, and thank you for accepting the challenge that was placed before you to come back and do the things that only you can do, and for pouring into people. Listen, you guys, there it is, miraclemanjourney.com. And if, let's say, Instagram and that sort of thing is your jam, Instagram and TikTok, you can find him there. There it is on the screen. Thank you. Stay. I'm going to bring him back as soon as possible. You guys, I'll let everybody know when. And for those of you out there, thank you so much for honoring us with some of your time today. Now get out there, find that E and that R that will take great to greater, bright to brighter, strong to stronger, bold to bolder, and my personal favorite, kind to kinder. I promise, God willing, to meet you tomorrow morning over on the front porch, where together we'll have yet another illuminated conversation. Now, don't you dare let my screen door slam on the way out. And remember, as always, Dr. Lauren loves you, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. I'll see you. RoyalKye, thank you so much, man. What an honor. Blessing. You poured into us. Bye, everybody. Have the best day ever.
Great day, everybody.
See you. Bye-bye.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Oh, I'm standing right here holding up a sign, shamelessly displaying my state of mind.